Goal for this week is to have the Hemi in. That by the end of this video, we will have the motor, the transmission, transfer case will be in termite. Now, there's a bunch of unknowns that may or may not allow that to happen. If you're searching forums, you'll be reading a forum and then you look at the date and it's from like 2007 or 2012. You know, it'd be 10, 11 years old, and a lot has changed in 10 or 11 years as far as what parts are available, you know, stuff like that. And so you'll be reading an old thread and it's not really relevant anymore. So that's one reason one-way forums are kind of outdated, I hate to say, but they can be, and not to mention they're all just so cluttered with stuff. But I had someone that once said that the heater box hits the head. I don't know for sure. So we're going to find out. If it does, that may hold us back because we'll have to modify the heater box to get the motor in. If it doesn't, then we should be able to have it in. So, you know, again, though, I don't know. I've never done this before, so we're going to find out together. And so let's get to tearing some stuff out of termite. While I'm thinking about it, these videos we know are a little bit different. They're a little longer. We're trying to be more informative than we normally are. I'm not a big fan of doing how-to videos because I don't always know what I'm doing. I'm just experimenting as I go. I'll be honest with you. And this is prime example. But if there's something that we do that I don't answer or that I didn't mention and you'd like to know the answer, just comment and ask. I will do my best to answer. Sometimes I just don't think about filming this or filming that. I'm not a professional at any of this stuff. So if there's a question that I don't cover and you want to know the answer to, shoot a comment and give me a little bit, because sometimes if you're answering something that this video's been up for months, we don't go through all of our videos every day and see who comments. We wait for the email. So it may take a day or two to respond, but I will get back with you and answer it to the best of my ability. So today we're going to begin this video with getting the old ECU, the old computer that goes to the high-wall fuel injection. This is all that harness right here. It goes through and feeds into the firewall here. And this is all the OBD1. When was the last time you used one of those? Fuse block, you know, all that kind of stuff. It goes into there to the ECU. So back behind here, there's a big open cavity. If you drop your air vents down, back straight up in there, there's a big, huge open cavity. And that's where I hide the computer. I got it wrapped in the foam that goes for like electrical stuff. Like, so if you buy a TV or something like that, it comes wrapped in that really thin foam. We wrapped some of that foam, it's just a loop or two around it, just to give it a little bit of cushion. And we've got it stuck up in there. And that's okay, guys. You can see we've got the heater box dropped. So essentially, it just sits right here on top of this. You get it up in there, there's a big old cavity. See that pink foam? That's it. So it just sits comfortably. It kind of, and there's room. It's not jammed. See, I just work it out. But you see how we did it. Just wrap some of that around there just as a kind of a cushion and just put it up in there. Again, it's not in a bind, it's not banging around, and then just put the heater box up and it just kind of sits on top of the heater box. But it was a clean mounting spot for anybody who ever does one of those, or maybe the one who gets this one from us. I don't know. That's where I did it, and kept it out of the way, and it worked great. So having fun?
No.
All right, well, everything is removed that needs to go for now, with the exception of the brake booster. I know I call that a vacuum booster sometimes. Brake booster is what it is. It's just because it works on vacuum. It's just, you know, this brake booster still got to go, but I'll get that next. AC lines are gone. We got the blower, the heater box, the AC box, whatever you want to call it, the vent box, is all gone. out of here, and it is over here. So I just unscrewed these couple of screws here that goes to the firewall and just pulled it out because they connect right here at this expansion valve, and it is wrapped in all this tar stuff, and it is a wrestling match trying to get that stuff undone in there. So I just pulled that and just pulled it all together, and we'll get them off because these lines, especially the big one for sure is going to have to change because it was leaking anyway. Number one, it don't fit. But number two, it was already, one of the lines had a slow leak in it, so they're both gone anyway. We're going to get new lines made to go for the Hemi. The next day, you can see termite cleaned up really good. It looks so much better. You can actually see like the proportion of valve. You can actually see it now. You know, all the frame rails cleaned up good. Even all of our, you know, our knuckles and all that stuff cleaned up really good. So firewall looks good. You can actually tell this plug is white. It was all this was just black caked on stuff. You can see the factory primer spots and oversprays. It cleaned up really good. So today our goal is to get the original mounts off and start getting the other mounts, the adapter mounts to the Hemi. I ran into our first issue, and it's my fault. Last night I was out here just kind of looking over everything and kind of getting my plan for the day. And I opened up the Hydro Boost that we've had for, God, I think since back in the summer maybe. And we got it in, and it has literally just been sitting over there on the shelf. And I opened it up and went to fit it on, and the holes are different. All the mounting holes were different. That was the first thing I saw. And I was like, oh man, that's, you know, what's up with that? So went and found my old email and realized I ordered the wrong Hydro Boost. So there's 3 different ones. There's one for like the 60s into up to 72. Then there's one that is 73, and this is on BJ's website, and it has it 73 dash. And if I remember right in my head, this is the only thing I can figure is that I just assumed 73 dash just meant 73 on. But if you go down below it, there's another Hydro Boost. There's 3 of them. And the last one is 74 to 91. That's the one that we needed. So I ordered the wrong one. Long story short, I ordered the wrong one. So if you go to order one, make sure you get the right one. So apparently 73s are a one year application. Now, the only thing that we got to do is got these tabs welded to the top, to the frame. I get the cutting wheel. We'll cut those welds, and they should come right out. Great welds. Of course, my hammer would be out here. all of this too is evidence why it's so much easier just to remove the front clip, get it out of your way so that you can just be in and out. There we go. All right, those are out. So this bolt is the only one that's going to stay on this side because it actually runs through the shock tower. These other two, they just keep hitting the boot. We don't need them anymore, so we'll remove the shock and get them two bolts off. Same on this side. This one will stay. These two are going. And we'll just, like I said, undo the shock and get those out. Okay guys, just to walk you through how these mounts somewhat work. This is just a plate that is going to mount on the side of your block. These are the original mounting bolts. I know I'm missing one there, but for the original mount. And so this is just going to go there like so. And then you've got these that are starting to surface rust. I'm sitting in the damp shop. But these are going to go somewhere along the frame rail in here. And then you're going to plug weld all of those holes and then weld it up the side somewhere in this vicinity in here. So I'm just going to guess. My guess is that they are going to set very, very, very close to where the original mounts were. But we got to get the motor and trans in there. Going to get everything bolted to the block, get it suspended in there, and then make sure that our transmission to rear diff is straight. Give us a good straight line there. Our distance from the firewall, just kind of a basic, you know, where it needs to be. Make sure everything's straight. We got clearance, everything's good. And then we will clamp those to the frame, probably mark it. I may even just put a little tack just to hold it there. And then we'll pull the motor back out and fully weld those in. And at that point, we're ready to go back in. And while we're also doing that, we'll kind of be able to get a rough idea about where the trans is going to mount up. So that's going to be something we'll have to work with once it's in there. But we'll be able to get a good idea kind of where the trans mount needs to sit and what we're going to have to do to make that fit. I don't think it's going to be too bad, but we'll get that nonetheless. And so, all right, guys, I wanted to stop. You see, we got the motor in. We lost some audio the other day on an issue that I had, and so we wanted to come back and briefly show you the issue that we run into with good audio. Something's up with my phone. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, this mount kit I got from BJ's. It's a great kit. I like everything about it. But I just want to warn you guys, whenever you go to order the engine mount kit for the 5.7 Hemi, they'll have a selection bar that says, what year Hemi do you have? So mine's an 08, so I ordered, it's like 03 to 2010. So I ordered that one, and it states that the difference is that the mounting holes on the plate that bolt to the block are 3.5 inches. And it says from 2010 and a half on up are 3.25 inches. That is incorrect. That is not right information. All Hemis, all years, from what I can understand in my experience and my questions and asking and all these other people around the world that we have, there's no such thing as a 3.5 inch hole to hole on any 5.7 Hemi. Not even on 6.1s or 6.4s, I don't believe. So this is the factory plate that bolts to the block like this. So we're talking about the distance between this hole and this hole. These are 3.25. My truck is a 09, 3.25. So I never had measured those holes, so I didn't know what the measurement was. So I ordered what was right for my year motor, and they didn't fit. So I had to open the hole up to be able to fit the bolt. I contacted BJ's about it. They contacted Novak, who actually makes the mounts. And Novak said that I must have an engine that's 2010 and a half on up. That's not true. I don't. This is clearly a pre-Eagle head motor. It's an 08. My truck is clearly an 09, and it measures 3.25 as well. So it's a good kit. I highly recommend it. But when you do, just completely ignore that 3.5 inch option. Just order the 3 1/4 one and you'll be good to go. Other than that, it's a good kit. It fits, it's universal, fits really well, helping you move your motor around, and I like it. So, you know, it is what it is. Just wanted to share that with you guys before you order the kit. But do order it because it's a good kit. So second issue you're going to run into is the way these kits mount together. You've got a big carriage bolt, goes into the top. Bushing mounts here, and then this bolts to the plate that goes on into the frame. You can see here the dipstick tube runs through the center here. The original mount has a provision here for the dipstick tube. The other side's not a problem, it's just flat. So when you go to put this in, the carriage bolt hits the dipstick tube. So it doesn't let the plate wants to rock on the carriage bolt. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take the carriage bolt, we're going to grind it off flush with this flat spot here. I'm going to test fit it. If that works, then I'll just run a little weld across that front part right there to help secure that in. It doesn't have to be much because it's a very beefy bolt and it's got all of that to hold it still. And then hopefully that will be enough to clear the bottom side of the dipstick. So you will have to modify that to be able to go in to use. As you can see, that's as far up as I can come, and you can see there's still plenty of space. So hopefully that will fix that problem. All right, so this side's on. You can see there, nice and neat. And then this side's on. So, open them up a little bit. Wasn't bad at all. It's not a bad thing if you have to do it. So that's done. Now I'm going to get the rest of the mount kit, get that bolted on, and then we're going to pick the motor off the stand and get the transmission bolted to it. Nice new rear main seal on. All the bolts are torqued. I don't have an inch pound, so I just kind of go by what feels right. Signed it here so that in however much time somebody pulls this thing out, they'll know who to blame. Who put this thing in here? It's me. So anyway, all right, now I'm gonna time lapse you guys, get the transmission rolled up there to it. Get the bell housing bolts in. I'm not going to hook up the torque converter to the flywheel just yet, but we'll get that on. I will torque that because that's in inch pounds. But I'm not going to put the bolts in the torque converter just yet. Just because I think that it'll be easier to do when it's in here and maybe up off the ground, and I can stand there and do it versus trying to. I'm here by myself too, trying to turn it over and do all that. So. All right, so we've got our spacer, well, it's not really a spacer, just kind of starter adapter, fills in these little holes, stuff like that. Do not forget that. I did one time. I was putting a motor in a buddy of mine's truck, a 4.7, and I'm just tooling right along, putting everything together and get it back in the truck. And then I looked over on the table and this was laying there. Y'all seeing a pattern here that I forget stuff? I don't know. Too many years of beating my head on dirt jumps, I guess. So these torque to 11 foot-pounds. My torque wrench doesn't go that low. It only goes down to like 20. So I just kind of, feel 11. Flywheel bolts are 55, so we can do those. So any of my pig in the forest guys, you'll recognize these, coming in handy. We're going to put blue Loctite on these and get our flywheel bolted up. right, bolts are in. Bell housing is bolted up. Everything spins freely. You got the torque converter up there rubbing the flywheel. So, and I don't know if I told you guys I've got the manifolds on. I just put 2 bolts on each side just so we can kind of get an idea on the exhaust, because I'm assuming these are going to be fine, but they may not be. So I'm not going to go through the process of gaskets and bolts and all that stuff if we're going to have to just pull, or even cleaning them up if we're going to be pulling those off. So if those work, whenever we pull the motor back out to final weld and paint and everything, then I'll clean those up, put all the bolts, new gaskets, the whole 9 in there. But at this moment, we are pretty much ready to lift it up and test fit it into the engine bay. So I don't have anybody here to help me at the moment. Andrew and the kids are still gone. Eric's on his way to pick up Bahama Mama. We got to put a fuel pump on that whenever he gets here, because you can see the tow strap under the front. After I got done welding and doing everything the other day, it did not want to crank. And so it had gas. I could shoot and pour some gas down the carb or something like that, and it'd fire right up. So pretty sure the fuel pump has left the chat. And that was Termite's last thing that it got to do, was pull Bahama Mama out of the shop. So it did that, pulled it out, we swept the floor and pulled Termite in and tore it apart. So this is where we are at the moment, guys. Tomorrow, the weather's gonna be a little bit warmer. Andrew will be back. And so we'll see you guys tomorrow, where we will be test fitting that thing. Get it in there and test fit her up.
But if he's talking to me and I don't answer him, he doesn't like that either.
Size that bolt.
Get out.
Yep.
It'll be the first time we've got bones on the inside of a car.
Uh-oh, I see a weird looking van coming down the road.
Oh gosh. Sketchy.
Sketchy looking thing there.
Sketchy van.
Yes.
About that to call the law of sketchy vans riding around. Man.
Come on, man. Hey, what's up? Alright, you gotta do it.
Pole's not working anymore. Come on.
See y'all here for that.
This is the stuff that doesn't make it on this video.
No, this is something that definitely does
wants
make
to
it on the
watch
videos.
See, and
This
yet,
is the relatable part.
See,
She's
most-
in her, bud.
most of my time in my garage is spent walking around looking for that 10mm van.
Oh gosh.
Literally, I just
Well, I was
said,
sitting here earlier. This was sitting right here, and I'm looking everywhere for the laser. And I was like, Carson, have you seen the laser? He's like, it's right there. And I'm like, God. I was like, there's a snake that would have bit me.
Yesterday I was looking for a tool I already had in my hand.
Right. You can see the engine is in. It is it's loosely, just a little tack. I just put a little tack there just to kind of hold it still, plus the clamp. Just kind of holding it all there so that we can look at it. Just check and double check everything. See if I like it. I'm not in a rush. I've never done a swap like this before, so I'm just settled in and settled in my mind. I'm taking my time. We'll take a step. I'll like this. I'll step back, look at it, sleep on it. So right now, the engine is sitting about a 1/4 of an inch too far back on this side. So it's just kind of sitting just a little bit crooked. So I'm going to pull this side forward, just inch it forward just a little bit. I had to cut those tacks loose and just kind of bring this side forward just a little bit. And then I think I'm going to have to bring the whole thing forward about another 1/4 of an inch. So this side is going to come forward about a 1/2 inch. This side is going to come forward about a 1/4 of an inch, because you got these bolts, and it's going to be really hard to show you guys, but there's a bolt right here that holds the shock tower, that goes through the frame. And long story short, it's hitting about right in that corner. So I need to move the mount forward enough to get it over here into this part so that I can drill a hole for that bolt to be able to pass all the way through. So it's only a 1/4 of an inch. Just me measuring is going to be plenty. And so I'm going to just kind of inch it forward about a 1/4 of an inch just for that bolt to be able to hit flat. This side's good because of the way the mounts are on the block. I don't know what the exact measurement is, I need to tell you, but the mounts on the driver's side of the block set further back than the ones on the passenger side. And I'm trying to make sure I'm saying that right and not backwards. But they're not the same on both sides. So on the other side, it's fine. But this side, the mount, that bolt is just kind of an issue. So I'm going to bring it forward just enough to be able to hit the back side of that mount. So other than that, it's sitting pretty good. We do still need to put a little bit of tilt to it, because right now, just looking at my degree, you can see it's sitting just about straight flat. So I'm going to put a little bit of angle to it and just kind of go from there. But it's very, very, very close. So much so that I'm here by myself. You guys saw Carson and Corey and all those guys came yesterday. Came just to visit. Ended up, helping. So I'm thankful too, man, because it's nice. I'm always open to having another set of eyes, another set of somebody else there, referencing something. I'm always happy to have help. So we got it to here. We did not about having to pull the heater box, just get it off, because it does hit. That was a concern I had. It's there. And so the heater box does hit the head on the Hemi. So that it's not going to be a big deal. It's not hitting it a lot, but it's hitting it enough that we could not get the engine straight. So my plan is on that. It's fiberglass, so we will probably just cut it and re-fiberglass it to fit where it will clear the head and all that kind of stuff. But that's a few weeks away. So right now I'm going to set the tripod up. It's just me out here. It's a cold, rainy day. Welcome to, it ain't February yet, but it's about to be February here in South Mississippi. And that's what it is all month. And I'm going to get this thing final position and go from there. All right. Well, we are clamped, positioned. We are centered. It is straight. Easiest way I can show you is if you just look down the sway bar here in comparison to the crank pulley. They're all nice and lined. The only place that I can find that's like a good measuring spot, and I measured a bunch of different places, and I would encourage you to do the same thing. You can't come off the heads because they're different front to back. The mounts are different front to back. So the only place I knew that was flat is going to be right here on the surface where the block meets the timing cover down here. So I just let my tape butt against that little ledge, and I just made sure I came straight out and measured to here. I just used my square. I also have this little laser from Harbor Freight with a level. Use that too, just to make sure I get a good accurate pull measurement. And I'm measuring the same here as I am here. I got a center mark right here. I don't know if you can see it. Center of the frame, side to side. Squared all that up to shoot the laser. I don't know if I can film it and do it because it takes both hands to do, because that's such a big, I need one of those little small ones. But anyway, shoots it dead up, center of the crank there. But even the side to side, when we come back in for final, we can move it side to side. The main thing that we're looking for right now is our front to back, and kind of set a little angle to it Make sure we're not crooked or anything like that. Make sure the motor's just setting in there front to back straight wise is the main thing you're looking for, so that we can get these mounts welded. And then once we put it back in, if we need to shift it over just a fuzz side to side, we got plenty of adjustment there to be able to do that. That's why I do like these mounts, man. They do give you plenty of options, you know, to be able to move the engine around. All right, I know y'all can't tell much, but it is smoky up in here. Been burning steel, so these are welded in. Well, it don't look too bad. See if I can get in there. Not bad for a little old Lincoln 110. But it's in there. You got plug welds, front and back. I ain't the prettiest in the world, but I think they'll hold. I think we got good penetration and all that stuff. So the plug welds that's a big part of your strength there. That's going to really tight. And then just what I did was I did one pass around and just kind of filled the gap and sew it in, and then I came back with a wider second pass over the whole thing. So you know, it's there. Like I said, not the prettiest thing in the world, but it ain't got to be pretty. It's just got to be strong. All right, so I just took the shock off and zip tied it back to the brake line. I didn't cut it now, but I figured I better show you off where I put it all back together. We got the bolt through right there. I just drilled through, and you want to make sure you got space on this end, because see, that's the spacer that's going to go when the new plate goes in. And so I just ran the bolt with the head on this side. So as you can tell, there is space between them. So to do that, you'll have clearance for your spacers and all that good stuff, and everything will be fine. All right, so we had to open the doors up. My little bat friends up there were not happy about the smoke. They were squawking away, but this bolt's in. Now we got this bolt in. It's there and just goes all the way through there. So that's all done. Those are ready. Now we are time to prime and paint. But as you can see, the weather's just gross, and so I'm gonna wait till tomorrow to prime and paint. Today I'm gonna do what I told you guys in the last video I tried to do, and Corey and Carson made fun of me yesterday because this is I told you guys in the last video I try to keep everything. This is the result of 2 days, like yesterday and today, of fitting an engine. This is, and then you've got stuff on wheel wells, you've got stuff stacked on the old engine, and we've made a mess earlier, and so just C-clamps and hammers laying everywhere. So I'm gonna pause. I'm happy, I'm super happy that that's done. And so I'm gonna take the rest of the day and just clean up in here so that tomorrow, like I said, we can prime, we can paint, we can get all that done, and then motor be ready to go in and bolt in.
I'm gonna make him happier than the day I said I'll marry him. Let's see what he says. Let's get it in there.
Huh?
Let's get it in there.
You really want to?
Well, no, but I don't want to tomorrow either, so I might as well do it today.
Just ready?
Let's do it. I said, this will make you happier than the day I said, yes, I'll marry you.
I don't know about that, but it does make me happy. If y'all know anybody that has some 6.1 or SRT8 Jeep headers or manifolds, I'm interested.
Termite has a Hemi. This means we're like 80% done,
Pretty
huh?
much getting there cranking right
We
now.
can pretty much just go to town. You're basically done.
Tomorrow by lunch it'll be running.
I mean, easy.
Alright, so the Hemi's in. Motor mounts are tightened up. Motor's setting level, setting straight. All is good there, but we still have the jack holding the trans up. So today, we have the factory trans mount from the truck, and we have the factory cross member from Termite. So I took this out yesterday, just kind of pressure washed it, cleaned it up, got all the grease and dirt and all that kind of junk off of it so it's good and clean. Clean the edges up. And today we're going to get under there, put it back under the bottom, and see what we've got to do to make that factory mount work. So I know you guys can't see this, but right here there is the original 4 holes, and then right behind it there's 4 more holes that you can have the cross member mounted a little bit further back and it will still fit. So we're gonna have to move back to these, but just eyeballing it, it looks like once we go back to these 4 holes and run it across, it's gonna be dead center with the back of the trans where that mount goes. So then all we gotta do is figure our height and go from there, whether or not we're gonna have to make spacers or something like that to make it work. So I'm gonna get the cross member over here and start fitting it up in between the frame. All right, guys, well, I'm done with the mount. This is what we ended up with. It's done painted, and it's just a lowered version of the factory deal. So you can see where I cut it and re-welded it, both sides. So what I did essentially is this was up here, like up here. So we only needed like 2 5/8 between here and here. So I just measured, marked, made sure my plate came down good and straight. And so the way I did that, I just cut straight first so I know it would just come straight down. Cut it, welded it, mounted it back up there a few times. I did have to slot the front ones for a couple of reasons. Number one, my holes were just a fuzz off, and it wasn't enough to really matter. But also, these bolts are really hard to get to because of everything in there. So I said, well, I can slot them, and it'd make it a little bit easier mounting this up there. So, you know, part of it was a mistake, but as Bob Ross says, a happy accident. So anyway, so I guess if you want to call it that. So it's ready to go in, but I'm out of time for the day. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna get it mounted back to the transmission, let it continue to hang there overnight, and then tomorrow I'll have to get Andrew's help out here to get the cross member pushed up, and we'll have to figure where these 4 holes hit. That's gonna be fun. Drill our holes, bolt it to it. Height should be good because I have remeasured. It's all my measurements are still good. So height, as far as the cross member coming up, should be fine. It's just gonna be a point of, you know, finding where those holes hit, drill them. Cross member then can come all the way up, bolt it up, and the whole thing will be solid in there then. So I'm gonna get down there and bolt that in and probably call it. All right, guys, different day, same coveralls. Trying to keep the water bill down. We got a Hemi swap to finish, but anyway. So this is gonna be the last day, Lord willing, of this video. All we got to do today, that's funny, right? All we got to do today is fit the cross member. So I'll try to walk through that. It's pretty straightforward and simple. There's 4 studs sticking out of the bottom of the trans mount that we put it on yesterday. I got to get the cross member up, find where those studs hit, drill holes in it, put it up there, bolt it all in, and we're done. So once we do that, officially be fully bolted in and there. All right, guys, we are officially fully bolted in. There's the mount we did yesterday. You can see that bolted in there, how all that did. Goes up under there. If you can see the 4 bolts under there where they come through. And this is, again, just the factory mount. Just slid back to the back 4 holes. So you got two options. So we just went back, and you can see it sets just right on the edge. So all that is good. We just test fit the transfer case, made sure that it was all going to be good. That has good shot going out. Everything's good there. So the reason I didn't put it in because we got to do a slip yoke eliminator on it. So that'd be easier to do outside, so I'm not gonna put it in just yet till we get that done. So anyway, it is fully bolted in, so termite officially has the Hemi. So it is in there. We are setting about, I don't know if you can see it, right about 4 to 5 degrees, probably like 4.5 degrees back. So that's perfect tilt and angle there on that. And yeah, everything's solid. It's all happy, and I'm happy. You guys, as always, for watching. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. We got stickers for sale on the website. And until next week, guys, we'll see you later.
Mic check this way. Mic check that way. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Mic check.
All right, I gotta pause what I'm doing because I gotta go to the post office and pick up crickets. Judah has a bearded dragon named Rex, and Dudley is doing his business. What a dork. Looks like it is. That's good for him, by the way. Good for the old impacts.